My name is Michelle Rose Turnbull. I just turned 80 in April. I was 1 month old when I was placed into Nudgee Orphanage, but I was taken away from the Diamantina. That's a distribution centre in Wooloowin. I was transferred to Nudgee Orphanage, and that's where I was. I think one of my aunties put me in there. I don't know to be sure. But
Okay.
I was put there, and that was it. The moment they closed those doors, your life is theirs to do what they like with you, and they sure did. I mean, the cruelty of it was incredible. But I'll get back to that one very shortly. But I want to start from the school. I started school in Prep 1. Then I gradually increased as I went along, and the least little thing you did wrong, you'd get a belting for it. You wouldn't. It wouldn't be gentle either, because it'd be hard on your knuckles or on your bottom. See these knuckles here? They used to be beautiful knuckles, and when they hit the knuckles, they didn't hit it with the flat of the ruler, they hit it with the side of the ruler. And I think some of the times the nuns took their anger out of us, because they were brought up in Catholic schools in Ireland or wherever it may be, and they brought their frustration out on us. We weren't allowed to fraternise with the women, the girls, over there, and if we were caught, we'd get a thrashing, belting from the nuns. From one of the nuns, or the bigger boys in charge of us, and we used to get it quite a lot. The girls were separated on that side, the boys were on this side, and I thought to myself, just because I'm only a young fellow, I thought, well, why are we separated when it's a segregated school? It was a segregated school. That's the way it was down there.
Yeah.
And if we were caught, we were belted for it. But we had to stay apart from each other. And our sporting equipment was not sporting equipment. It was an old tree trunk in the shape of a hockey stick, a piece of wood with the handle like a bat. We used that for cricket. And for tennis, we used a little piece of wood with a bat on it, and that was our tennis racket. But the school days was very bad. wasn't a very happy person in school, and I got into trouble quite a bit. When I left the orphanage, I was 21. But I'll tell you the story that leads to that. Is that we were preparing meals for the following day, which was a Saturday. We were there Friday. We stayed up all night, and in the morning too. We were dead tired. You couldn't go to sleep, because one of the nuns would be still there with you, making sure that you were okay. You were doing your job, and I was peeling potatoes and pumpkins and everything like that, And by the time I finished, I had blisters and everything like that all over my fingers. I couldn't do it. So anyhow, I was standing there one day, and there was this woman. She came in, not into the kitchen, but she was in the yard. And it's just while I was preparing the meal for the fete the next day, and she came into the yard, and she stood there. Nun went out to her and said to her, "You're looking for somebody?" She said, "Yes, I'm looking for my brother, Michael." And she came back in. She said, "There's somebody out there who looks exactly like you," And it was my sister. And I didn't even know she existed. So I had two brothers. I had John, Frank, and another sister in the orphanage with me. I didn't even know who they were. But look, those are the things they don't tell you, that you've got siblings in there, and they don't want you to know. But anyhow, she stood out there and she said, "There's somebody in there in the kitchen who looks exactly like you." And when I went out there, she gave me a great big hug, and we had some tears running down our cheeks and everything like that. And that was good to see, her. And that's how I got to know my older sister, and I was the youngest of the boys. Well, my answer to that one would be to protect them, because they're vulnerable people. Like I'm a vulnerable person at the moment, but they're vulnerable people. They're people who are delicate. They need support, and they don't need people coming into their homes or anything like that and abusing them. And that's something that I don't like. As I said, with all the other abuse, you got the child abuse, you got the physical abuse, you got the also everything.
Yeah.
Spiritual abuse. I think there should be more rules. I mean, rules. I know rules are meant to be broken, but not those kind of rules I'm talking about. Should be some sort of action taken if a child or an elderly person gets abused. It should be taken immediately, not 4 weeks after it happened, because that older person could die, and then the story of that abuse would probably not be told. If it happens that we have to pass on, we pass on. We know that we've been looked after, and respected, and loved. That's what we need. Mostly is love. You don't turn your backs on them, because you get people who turn their backs on their older folk, their parents or their grandfather or something like that. They said, okay, let's shove him in the home and forget about it. That's abuse. No, because you're putting him in some home or some sort of nursing home. And they always say, if you go in a nursing home, you'll never get out of there alive. But sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not.